Hello and welcome to Yorkshire Voice at 4 o'clock. I'm Daniel Swales. Coming up this afternoon, the new Azuma trains have finally hit Yorkshire, running from Leeds to London with even more capacity. Ilkley Clean River campaign is aiming to become the first riverside town in the country to gain safe bathing status. And it's a crucial day for Leeds United. We've got a special guest to tell us all the ins and outs ahead of tonight's big game. First this afternoon, a brand new train is making its first journey from Leeds to London today. Azuma trains are offering more legroom and sleeker new seats after months of discussion. The LNER service will replace some of their older and existing trains and carriages and opened on the Leeds to London line. Our reporter, Alicia Atkinson, is live at Leeds train station now.
Hi Dan, yes, it's been a very exciting day today at the train station here. There's been a band playing and people have flocked here to celebrate the arrival and departure of the new Azuma trains. It's slightly delayed by 5 months because of a few complications, but everyone is happy that it's finally here. So take a look what happened earlier when we were at the event. LNER will increase its fleet from 45 to 65 trains by 2020 with the introduction of the new Azuma train. This means that journeys will be more frequent and times will be cut. Commuters in Leeds have been sharing their thoughts.
It looks all right. I'm still a diesel lady, but it looks all right. Last week we were in the northwest and we rode the equivalent to this to Penzance, and it was all right.
It's going to bring a lot more seats, a lot more capacity, and just something new. I think everyone likes something new, don't they?
It's a new train. The old ones are getting very tired. They're over 40 years old. There needs some investment in it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, because some people have said they have uncomfortable seats, but we'll see.
The first stations the Azuma trains will pass through are Leeds, Wakefield, Doncaster, Peterborough and London King's Cross. The trains themselves will have better facilities on board, as well as more legroom, comfier seats and a buffet carriage.
No, I think it's time that we had a real statement of intent to invest in transport to the north, and it's a real visible, practical sign of the commitment. And I think for passengers, who've become sadly too used to really crowded, uncomfortable trains, this is a real first step in getting some of the investment that we know we need up in the north of England.
After the London to Leeds route, they will be phased across the rest of the LNER network, which means we could be saying goodbye to the slow pacer train. So as you can see, these trains are going to make a huge difference to the north. The Azuma trains are welcomed because they're eco-friendly, they have more luggage space and they're more accessible for people as well. They were inspired by the Japanese bullet train, which is where they got the name Azuma from, because that means east in Japanese. So let's really hope that these trains are a step up for the north. Back to you, Dan, in the studio.
And now for news in brief. 71 suspected paedophiles were arrested in Yorkshire over the last year by a specialist unit, the police have revealed. The Regional Organised Crime Unit was set up to catch people using the internet to contact children for sexual purposes. The team used social media and instant messaging services that are known to be used for grooming purposes. A 15-year-old has died by taking drugs in North Yorkshire. Leah Hayes, pictured left, collapsed in a car park in North Allerton late Saturday evening. Police believe the teen had taken the drug MDMA. 2 teenagers, aged 17 and 18, have been arrested on suspicion of supplying Class A drugs following Leah's death. Supermarket chain Asda could be listed on the stock market following the blocked merger with Sainsbury's. The retailer, currently owned by Walmart, is facing an uncertain future and could also face £18 million worth of price cuts across the country. Asda are also looking into new technologies to save money in the future. It's fostering fortnight and Leeds City Council are urging people to consider foster care. Last night the council held a recruitment event in North Leeds. Social workers and foster carers were on hand to chat to those considering fostering. Over 100 new foster carers are needed every year in Leeds, especially those who can care for children with disabilities.
For us, Fostering Fortnight is not only trying to get the message out about fostering, it's also celebrating fostering within the council. We just try and encourage people to think about fostering, but it's got to be right for them. Fostering is extremely demanding, but also extremely rewarding.
You need to have stickability because the children that you get, sometimes their behaviours aren't great to be able to look after. Sometimes it is a challenge, but the rewards from that are fantastic. The young person that I had for 11 years is part of our family.
Ilkley is aiming to become the first riverside town in the country to gain safe bathing status, an EU Waterways Protection Order. Ilkley Clean River campaign has been battling with Yorkshire Water to lower the incidences of sewage dumping, which has risen to 35 per year. There should only be 1 or 2 annually. James Fountain has more.
The River Wharf, Ilkley, a tranquil early summer paradise, but the beauty which lies on the surface of this river area does not reflect what's going on beneath the surface. Experts say that the number of chemical dumps in this river is on the rise.
We've come down and kept an eye on it. The Environment Agency doesn't have a record of how many times this is happening and for how long. We have got records from Yorkshire Water. They said that there was 35 incidences last year, and we see that as too many. There should be only a couple, maybe a few each year.
Ilkley Clean River campaign are trying to put a stop to the pollution caused by the Yorkshire Water plant.
The problem is that when it rains, all the runoff from the moors and roads and hard surfaces goes into the sewage drains, and it floods into the treatment works. And at a certain level, there is a permit issued by the Environment Agency that they can discharge the raw sewage into the river. We're trying to get that level raised because we feel that's too low. We've taken phosphate and nitrate tests along further down from the sewage outflow. The phosphate tests were really high and the nitrates were really high. So what we're doing now is, because the Environment Agency are only testing for chemicals in the water, we're now testing for coliform bacteria, which is human waste, which is going in the water, to assess how bad the situation is along the course of the river.
Ilkley Clean River campaign think they have a solution.
We're applying for bathing water status in Ilkley because this will enable Yorkshire Water and force them to upgrade the plant to reach bathing water status and standards set out by EU regulation.
If they succeed, Ilkley will become the first town in the UK to gain bathing status, which would make it safe for humans and dogs alike.
A man has been jailed for 8 years after an incident outside a Batley nightclub on New Year's. Hamza Ali Hussain, aged 23 from Dewsbury, deliberately drove his car into a crowd outside the club. The incident left a man with serious injuries. More than 128 people have been arrested in the past month as part of a West Yorkshire police operation to tackle knife crime. Dozens of knives have been seized and patrols have increased across the region. West Yorkshire Police were given an extra £4 million to tackle knife crime, but some youth workers say this is not enough. We'll have more on that story later in the week. Police have launched a nationwide appeal as concerns over a missing girl from Wakefield increase. Nicole Harris, aged 16, was last seen in the Quebec Street area of Wakefield on Friday night. She is 5'3" with long brown hair and a burn scar on the side of her nose. Nicole was last seen wearing the greenish grey jacket in this picture. Call Wakefield Police on 101 with any information. Now we have Chris Haddon joining us here in the studio over Skype. Chris, so great to have you on the show today, and thanks for joining us.
No worries, it's an absolute pleasure to be on.
Oh, thank you. Now, the match tonight obviously has had quite a lot of build-up surrounding it. Just how big of a game is this for Leeds United?
I think it's absolutely massive. You look at the history of the club and how big the club is. To be fighting in the semi-finals of the playoffs with that chance to get into the Premier League, it's absolutely immense.
So you mentioned the size of Leeds United. Obviously, what would it mean for the city if Leeds were promoted back to the Premier League?
I think it means a lot more than what people realise. I mean, you go back into the days when we was back in the Premier League, the fans that would come through the city was alight. You know, everyone was in there, everyone was singing, the clubs were, everyone was in the pubs, and I think it'd be great to have that back.
Of course. So, following the Spygate controversy, Can we expect quite a fiery atmosphere at the game this evening?
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting that, to be honest with you. Especially when looking at the last game, there was a little couple of scuffles in there. The chants were really loud. I think we're going to be expecting a much bigger atmosphere tonight.
And obviously, Derby are a very talented side, they're a very gifted side. Obviously, they've got a lot to prove, a lot to play for, especially following the aforementioned Spygate controversy. Naturally, the atmosphere will help affairs tonight. Do you think Leeds fans are confident going into the game tonight at 1-0 up?
Yeah, the confidence is really high, to be honest with you. We've beaten them 3 times now, back to back. We know we're going to go in there with really good confidence tonight. And with the fans behind us, it's our game to lose, it's their game to win.
So, really quickly, after finishing 15th last season, were you expecting a campaign like this?
Honestly, no. I was expecting maybe a bit of a push for playoffs again. To be at top at Christmas. It was like waking up in a dream.
Yeah. And should you fail to secure promotion, or even worse, fail to go through tonight, would you consider this season as a failure?
No, without a doubt. No. I think, if anything, this has been one of the successful seasons we've had in a long time. The players are working well together. Got a fantastic manager in. At the end of the day, Radisson has got a 5-year plan in place. This is only year 1, and I look forward to what's to come.
Yeah. Really quickly for you, just to wrap up, what are your predictions for tonight's game?
I think 1-0 Leeds United, and I think Cleek is going to get the score.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for joining us, and I certainly hope Leeds can get it over the line, and I certainly hope you're celebrating later this evening.
I certainly will be.
Thank you. That was Chris Haddon of the Facebook fan page All Leeds Aren't We. Leeds United will face Derby County at Ellen Road this evening in the second leg of the playoff semi-final, with the winner of the tie determining who will face Aston Villa in the final and make a push for the promotion to the Premier League. In cricket, Yorkshire are currently facing Kent in the Specsavers County Championship. Kent started the day batting after Yorkshire ended their first innings 210 all out at the Spitfire ground. Elsewhere, England played out an emphatic win against Pakistan in the third one-day international at Bristol County Ground yesterday. The home side overcame the visitors' score of 358, winning by 6 wickets. The fourth one-day international between the two sides will be played on Friday. It's been a glorious week so far. Let's hope it's going to continue. Here's James Fountain with the latest forecast.
Yes, we seem to be in lockdown. The beautiful weather is certainly continuing, 19 degrees, cloudless skies, and we couldn't really ask for nicer weather really. A beautiful little breeze going through as well. It's keeping us a little bit cooler. By the end of the week it will start to cool down a little bit though. It will go down to about 17, but nothing more than that. It should be about 17 at the weekend. Leeds United couldn't ask for better conditions for their game at Ellen Road this evening, so good luck to them. The pollen count will be rather high. Make sure you stock up on antihistamines, make sure you stay rehydrated. And if anybody has any pictures for us, please send them to Yorkshire V, @Yorkshire V. That's our Twitter page. Thank you very much, and back to you, Dan.
Some of you have been sending in your weather pictures. Let's take a look at them now. Here's one in Knaresborough, a couple of dog walks and drives in the sun. Thanks to everyone who sent those pictures in. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow us on our Twitter page @Yorkshire V, or keep up to date on our website at Yorkshire-Voice. Tune in tomorrow at the same time at 4 o'clock to hear more of your local news stories. We will hopefully be looking forward to Leeds United playing in the playoff final. Fingers crossed, we're booking tickets to Wembley this time tomorrow. I'm Daniel Swales. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.